The Miami Heat have undoubtedly been one of the biggest surprises of the 2020 NBA playoffs. Even though they were only the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference at the end of the 2019-2020 season, they are very close to their first NBA Finals appearance since the departure of LeBron James in 2014. The results are not the only impressive part, as the dominant fashion in which they have conquered their series is outstanding. They swept the Indiana Pacers in the first round, dropped only one game to the Eastern Conference favorites, the Milwaukee Bucks, before upsetting them, and started up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics. But everybody's wondering, how have the Heat done it? Today we will take a look at the secret reason this Miami Heat team is dominating in the NBA bubble. But before we do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. First things first, the only reason the Miami Heat find themselves in the position they're in right now is because of their excellent brand of team basketball. Their contributions to the team wouldn't be nearly as relevant if the rest of the roster wasn't stepping up and playing their role. Because that's exactly what the Miami Heat franchise is all about, knowing your role and executing the game plan. That's Heat culture. At the time this video is being recorded, the Heat have a 10-2 record in the 2020 NBA playoffs. That's nothing short of amazing, considering they're just 2 wins away from returning to the NBA Finals. Getting here was without a doubt the sole purpose that fueled the Heat's decision to go all in and pursue Jimmy Butler in free agency last summer. Since Butler expressed his interest in taking his talents to South Beach when he hit free agency, the Heat's front office was hell-bent on getting him one way or another. It took a highly complicated 4-team trade to finally bring Butler to the Heat, as the Sixers cooperated to complete a sign-and-trade for Jimmy. That was better than losing him for nothing, as Philly was able to get back some assets in exchange for their disgruntled star. But Miami was the place Butler wanted to be at, and it showed early on in the 2019-2020 season. The team won 23 of their first 30 games, and it was around that time that Butler was already expressing confidence in Miami's chances to make the NBA Finals amid that stretch of phenomenal play. "Why not? I don't see why we can't," Butler told ESPN's Rachel Nichols when she asked about the Heat advancing to the Finals. "As long as we play hard, if we make shots for sure, but we gotta be able to say our defense is our anchor." So far, he has been exactly right. The Heat's strong play, exceptional shot making, and great defense have helped them on their way to the best record in the playoffs. Keep watching to see the secret that's allowed Miami to take things to the next level. Let's take a closer look at how the Heat have dominated the Eastern Conference. Great shooting. After finishing the 2018-2019 season with the 6th best defense, but the 5th worst offense in the NBA, it wasn't much of a surprise the Heat barely missed the playoffs. They say defense wins championships, but you need to have a strong scoring team to contend in the modern era of the NBA playoffs. The Heat have completely revamped their offense by adding a star player in Jimmy Butler and surrounding him and fellow All-Star Bam Adebayo with enough shooting to give them great spacing. So far in the playoffs, 46.2% of the Heat's field goals have been from three-point land, the 3rd highest mark in the postseason behind only the Rockets and Brooklyn Nets. They've hit 37% of those threes, the 2nd best mark among teams that made it past the first round. This shows the Heat have been able to shoot consistently well from deep. Butler is shooting 47.8% from 3 on 2 attempts per game. Duncan Robinson is shooting 40.9% on 7+ deep shots a night. Jay Crowder has found his previously lost jump shot, shooting 38.5% from 3 on 8.7 attempts. Long-range business is booming in Vice City. Great defense. The Heat franchise has long had a defense-first approach in their brand of basketball. Eric Spoelstra has been giving Raptors head coach Nick Nurse a run for his money with the way he likes to run zones on the defensive end. But the Heat's longtime head coach acknowledged earlier this season that a scheme alone doesn't win you games. "It's the efforts," Spoelstra said. "Really, the scheme is not going to win you a possession or even a game. You have to burn some calories and make some things happen. If you want to win in a tough place, you're going to have to make tough plays. You're going to have to get stops." And it's that strong style of play Jimmy Butler talked about. When you combine the Heat culture toughness with the physical gifts of their players, it's going to be hard to score on them. Bam Adebayo deserves a lot of credit for his defense on back-to-back league MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. And throughout the rest of the playoffs, Jimmy Butler is a well-known defensive pest. Guys like Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala, and Derrick Jones Jr. have great bodies, perfectly fit for the defense they play. "I like the way we look in the zone," Butler said, "but we've got a lot of guys that are athletic with long arms and can get to a lot of basketballs. Keep watching for Miami's true secret." The emergence of their rookies. It's not often you see rookies come in and be solid, consistent contributors on an NBA playoff team. But it turns out Duncan Robinson and Tyler Herro have both been a huge part of the Heat's success. While Duncan Robinson is not technically a rookie, he made his playoff debut this year and was only an end-of-bench player last year in his true rookie season, appearing in only 15 games for the Heat. But this year, he became a solid starter for Miami that surprised opponents with his lights-out shooting. Among players who took at least 200 threes this season, Robinson was third in three-point percentage, making 44.6% of his deep shots. He hasn't let down in the postseason either, shooting 40.9% on high volume. Tyler Herro is an actual rookie, but that hasn't stopped him from being the team's fourth leading scorer, contributing 14.8 points per game, only behind Goran Dragic, Butler, and Adebayo. He's also shooting 36.3% from three and looks like a seasoned veteran out there. The Heat continue their streak of home runs on drafting and player development areas. The secret reason behind Miami's dominance. Perhaps the single most determining factor in the Heat's postseason success has to be their ability to close games down the stretch. NBA Stats defines clutch minutes as the last 5 minutes in a game and all overtime periods in which the point differential is 5 or less. 8 of the Heat's games in the 2020 playoffs fall into this clutch category, and they're 7-1 in those games. Heat fans know how miserable this team was last year in crunch time. In fact, their inability to close out games or complete comebacks is the biggest reason the Heat missed the 2019 playoffs. But they turned things around this year with the addition of Jimmy Butler. Among players with at least 10 clutch field goal attempts in the 2020 playoffs, Butler has the 5th highest field goal percentage, shooting 56.3% in the clutch. That's way above his 47% shooting in the playoffs. Overall, the Heat have shot 48% in the clutch this postseason, also well above their 45.4% shooting in the whole playoffs. They say stars shine their brightest in the playoffs, and while Jimmy Butler's stats are never atop the league's rankings, he's proven time and again that he can get the job done in the playoffs, and he's one of the clutchest players in the league. And as long as he keeps leading this Heat team, their opponents can never feel comfortable with any lead until the final buzzer sounds. Do you think the Heat will make it to the NBA Finals? Do they have a chance to win a championship this season or in the future? Tell us what you think in the comments down below, and once again, make sure to leave a like on this video and hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching another Swish Central video, and join us next time for more NBA basketball content.